Okay, today we are going to try to recreate Vincent van Gogh's The Starry Night. We're going to look at this image that is just a line drawing. You also hopefully just watched a video. I have three different media forms you can use. You can use crayons, preferably on white paper. You can use oil pastels or tempera paint on blue paper, black paper, white paper, whichever you prefer. But we are going to go ahead and get started by first, I want you to look at this line here in this sort of bush in the foreground. And let's go ahead and see if we can freely cut a shape out of black paper. A lot of times my friends like to draw first and then cut on the line, but let's just have some fun with it. And maybe the first shape I sort of see is a teardrop. So I'm going to sort of cut something like this, right? It's not exact, that's totally fine. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and cut little pieces out like this. Okay, I'm going to do some more over here. The great thing about what we're doing is that it doesn't have to be exact. I want it to be your own unique spin, but I want to be able to recognize that you are trying to recreate your own version of the Starry Night. All right, so we have the bush, right? Now let's see if we can do some buildings. What shapes do you see when you look at buildings? I see some squares and rectangles for the wall part of buildings. And then I see triangles for the rooftop on the top of the squares and rectangles. So let's go ahead and cut out some squares, rectangles, and triangles. And you can use whatever color paper you want. In the actual Van Gogh image, the buildings, it's kind of hard to see, but the buildings are going to be more of a white or gray. Right. We are going to, again, add our own little fun spin. I have pink paper and purple paper, and like I said, I'm just going to cut out some, what's that? Yep, a rectangle. And I will cut out, what's this with three sides? Good, it's a triangle. I have some purple here. Try and cut out a square. And another triangle. Let's see. Also notice that when I cut paper, I am cutting from the edge. I'm not going out to the middle to cut a triangle. That's silly, right? So let's make sure we're cutting on the edge. So I have how many triangles? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. And I have one rectangle, one square, and I have my bush. Now, for the sky, I think that we're just going to use the oil pastels or tempera paints. So let's go ahead and move this. Okay. My shrub or bush is going to go there. I'll have my buildings down here somewhere. But before I glue down these, let's make some sort of ground and horizon line that the buildings are sitting on. So I'm going to move this to the side for a moment. I am going to grab my oil pastels. If you don't have oil pastels, crayons are totally fine. So use one of these. I'm going to use green, but you could also use black or brown. Black, brown, or green is what I suggest for the horizon line. Now, a horizon line is a really important term in art. A horizon line tells me that everything below the horizon line is land or ground or floor, and everything above the horizon line is sky or wall or anything that is a up and down vertical surface. So horizon lines are super important. It's telling me that what I'm drawing is not floating in air, although that would be cool too. So now I have my land, and I just want you to color it as a background for now, and then we can add some more texture later. And at any time, if you need to pause this video and restart it, please, by all means, feel free to do so. Great. Okay. Again, just quick. Now we are going to find my glue. Oh, there it is. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and glue down my shrub. So when you use glue, you can do a couple of different things. You can use your finger as a glue stick. You could just use a glue stick. But really important, you don't want to use too much glue. And also, you don't want to just do that, because then the edges will flip open. So you can kind of use this part to spread, but you really want a little bit of glue all the way around the edges. And again, not too much. That actually might be too much. We'll see. I'll know it's too much if it starts squeegeeing out the sides. So I'm going to put it down. Carefully push it. Oh, yep, a little bit too much, but it's okay. It's not a lot. All right, great. So we have that. Now I'm going to start arranging my buildings. Okay. Again, you don't want to do this, because then watch what happens. It's going to just fold up, and I want it to look like see how it's kind of folding up there. I want it to look like it's just one sheet of paper. It's not a couple sheets of paper glued together. There we go. Now I'm going to use what shape to make my roof? Right, triangle. Oh, another important thing about gluing. I'm never putting glue on the base paper. So the blue sheet of paper is what I consider my base paper. I'm always adding the glue to the smaller pieces that go on top. And that's because, I can show you right now. Okay, good. If I were to put the glue here, like that, okay, and then I go to put this on, see how there's too much glue? But if I just put it on here, on the shape that goes down first, or goes down on top, I'm sorry, there's not going to be too much. Okay? So never put the glue on your base paper. It always goes on the smaller pieces that you glue down. And I'm going to actually use my finger as a glue stick, see? And then put it on here. Okay, and this is just going to be, I was going to have it be a weird, yeah, I think I'm going to leave that as just a triangle shaped building, just a fun shape. If you want, you can always go back and cut out another scrap for the building. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry for a minute, and I'm going to go wash the glue off my hands. All right, I'm back, and the glue is not really dry, but my hands are clean. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start in the sky, and let's look at our line drawing. Up here I see a moon. What shape do you think that moon is? Right, it's sort of a crescent shape. So we're going to put a moon in our top right-hand corner using yellow. So in my top right-hand corner, I'm going to draw a C. Okay. Then I'm going to draw a smaller C on the inside. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color that in. And we have our crescent moon. Now let's see, what else do we see? These circles here represent stars. So I'm going to draw them. I'm going to draw a couple next to my moon. I'm going to draw some down here by my horizon line and some up towards the top. Again, since this is our own creation, it doesn't have to be identical to Vincent van Gogh's. So I'm going to just look and draw some circles with some concentric circles around it. Concentric means almost like a bullseye. There's circles inside and repeating, or circles outside repeating. Okay. A couple more down here. Okay. Now, before we get started with the texture, the line strokes that Vincent van Gogh is famous for, I want you to turn your paper so that it's vertical. So this is how we had it. And I'm just going to spin it this way. And if you look at this wind swirl, do you see anything right here? Does that make a shape that you recognize? Well, for me, that looks like an S. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and draw on my paper. I'm going to get a white, and let's see, somewhere between where I have my bush and the moon, boop, is where I'm going to draw an S shape. Make it all fun and swirly. Then, where that S is, I'm going to continue, and it looks like another big S. Okay. And that is the basic composition of, placement of different lines and shapes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have fun, and we're going to do some of Van Gogh's textures, his textured lines. So up here around the moon, I forgot to draw a circle. So go ahead and draw a circle. When you look at Vincent van Gogh's paintings, his lines and his colors mix, but they're short and choppy strokes. So for example, if I were to draw sort of a halo, or color a halo, or depict that this star is shining, and I'm using Van Gogh's technique, I'm going to do lots of small little lines, dashed lines like this. And I can use white, and I can use yellow. So there we have it. On the moon, basically do the same thing. Short. It's almost like a broken line. Maybe like a line you would see down the middle of a street, like the yellow dashed line. Some of them can be longer, but they have to kind of go in the same movement, the same direction. Okay, so that works. And I'm going to do that for the rest of my stars, and then I will check back in for the next step. Okay, good work. So we have our stars and our moon all colored in the Vincent van Gogh way, and we're going to now work on the sky and the swirl in the sky. For that, you're going to want blue and white. I wish I had a dark blue, but this is all I could find, and this is I'm going to make it work. It's going to be awesome. So I'm going to use that same dashed dotted line technique to sort of trace around these S's that we drew. They're sideways S's now because I rotated my paper back around. Okay. Sorry that my arm's in the way. Okay. And I'm going to do a little bit with the white as well. Oil pastels are really messy, but they're really beautiful when you use a white or a lighter color to sort of blend. You never want to use your fingers to blend oil pastels because they're just too greasy. Chalk pastels, however, you could use your finger or a tissue to blend and smear. Oil pastels are just too sticky. Okay. Beautiful. Now, if you wanted to add anything in on the land or in the bush, you could. Again, I don't know, maybe you're going to do some of Van Gogh's techniques. His like dashed, dotted, quick strokes in the bush. That looks nice. Maybe on the buildings, like I told you before, his buildings are typically, they look more white or gray, but we added a little fun color. Great. And then down here, I don't know, maybe you want to make a dashed line to depict a hill. And maybe you want to use a little bit of brown to make sort of a wood or forest coloring in the background. But this looks pretty good. So this is Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night, done by you, and I'm sure yours is absolutely awesome, and I can't wait to see them. If you could snap a picture and upload it to Schoology, or you can show it to me in our next Google Meet. I can't wait to see it. One thing, though, I do suggest is doing something like this. Hang on one second. Bear with me. Let's pretend like I'm in Miss Foreman's class. So in your picture, if you could somewhere write your name and your class code so that it'll just be easier for me to grade and check off. Class codes for all of my new parents and friends is going to be K for kindergarten, and then every other grade will be 1, 2, or 3. And then whatever your teacher's last name, first initial is. So kindergarten Foreman, let's say first grade Martin, second grade Carol, third grade Cassidy. Basically, that's going to help me know what grade you're in and which homeroom you're in. Cool. Oh, if you want to post this on Instagram, just make sure you are using the hashtag parents, because I'm not sure that you should be getting on Instagram without parents' permission. But make sure you're using the hashtag #BestKidsArt, because your art is the best. All right, see you later.